Are you thinking of moving to Phnom Penh, Cambodia? Watch this video before you do. Hi, Eric here. Phnom Penh, Cambodia is becoming rapidly a very popular place for people to move to from outside of Cambodia, and I don't blame them. I've lived in Cambodia now for 3 years, and I can tell you that it's a really easy place to live, and it's a nice place to live. And despite what people still believe about Cambodia, if they haven't been here for a while, Phnom Penh, in Cambodia in general, is not the wild, wild west anymore. It's highly developed compared to where it was just 5 years ago. You can get almost anything that you want, and the crime rate is quite low. You can see just out here on this video shot from my deck just 5 minutes ago that it's a rapidly developing country, and so it's just not what it used to be. And you know, there's some people who don't like that, but I like it. I like how nice it is to live here in Cambodia. And so if you're going to move to Phnom Penh, Cambodia, or at least are considering it, I would like to suggest 8 practical tips or ideas for you before you come. Tip number 1 for moving to Phnom Penh, Cambodia is to pack light. Now, I know it's tempting to bring your entire 4-bedroom house from wherever you are here, but I cannot recommend strongly enough that you do not do that. Now, I've made personally multiple international moves to a number of different countries, and I've known many others who have moved. And I would guess that you only really need to bring about 3 suitcases per person. That should be plenty. 3 of the big airline size suitcases that are about 23 kilos or 50 pounds each. The first 2 on a normal flight, if it's international, will be free, and then the next suitcase will be $200, which will be then $200 for every suitcase after that. So that means you're paying an extra about $200 per person maximum to bring your stuff. So that means 2 people would be 6 suitcases. I mean, that should be enough. But Eric, I really like my TV. I've got a really special toaster that's special to me, and I love my coffee maker, and I really like my brand of microwave. But I can tell you that you don't need to bring any of that. These days, it's very easy to buy all of that here. You've got the big, beautiful malls that they have here. They have tons of malls, more than I would have ever thought a city of this size could support, but they're all busy, and they've got all kinds of modern shops where you can buy almost anything that you want. On top of that, they've got Macro, they've got Global House, there's tons of smaller stores, there's markets, there's online shopping for literally everything that you can think of. There's just no reason to go and put a microwave in your bag because you can buy one here. You can buy almost anything here at this point. But Eric, I want to bring my couch, and should I bring a table? No, don't bring any of that. Every apartment is furnished. Every apartment has a couch. Every apartment has a table, a bed. Not just that, they've got sheet sets and pillows and pillowcases already there. They've got silverware and dishes and glasses. Many of them already have microwaves and things like that. All the big appliances, washers and dryers, refrigerators, they're already in practically every apartment that you could ever rent. So you really don't need to buy those things. But Eric, I really want to bring my grandmother's table that we all ate at when I was a little kid. Don't do that. That means you got to ship it freight. And the only thing I ever hear from people who ship freight is problems, a long list of problems. It's consistently taking months, maybe 6 months longer than the freight company said it probably would. And then it gets here and the government's decided to tax you, to hit you with tariffs and all this stuff that's already your possessions. The stuff that you take in your luggage, none of it gets tariffed, none of it gets taxed unless you put it on customs, unless you're carrying more than $10,000 in cash or something like that. It's all just tax-free, customs-free, but not true if it's going to be on a shipping container. And to make things worse, stuff can get damaged. So if you really do love your grandmother's kitchen table, don't ship it, or it might be damaged or destroyed or even lost. You hear just the worst horror stories regarding some of these shipping containers full of stuff. So it is my very strong suggestion that you just bring 2 or maximum 3 suitcases per person checked on the airplane. That's the way to go. The second thing that you should know before you move to Phnom Penh, Cambodia is that you can move your family here and it's safe and great for children. In fact, my son William was born here. I'm going to put the video right up there for you. But Cambodia is very child friendly. It's way more walkable than America. Saimai is every single day putting William in the stroller and walking him up and down the streets. And you know, if you're in America, you really can't walk from place to place. You can't walk to the grocery store. You can't walk to the clothing store. Here you can walk to literally anywhere, you know, for everything that you need if you're in BKK1 or even better, Russian Market. So that's not really a concern. There's tons of parks. William is going to parks all the time with like kids playgrounds, and you go to a different one every day, and there's kid cafes, and there's the malls, and there's child groups. In fact, I would say that it is easier to raise a child here than it is in the United States, and certainly much cheaper. We also feel very safe day and night. Like we were just on the riverside at night and wandering around, felt completely safe. Friendly Cambodians waving to us. Very safe, very friendly for families, and you can definitely bring your family here and raise your children. The third thing you should know is that you do not have to speak Khmer to come here and to live here. And this is not to suggest that you should be super rude and like come here and be a guest of the Cambodian people and utterly refuse to speak Cambodian and look down your nose at people that do. What I'm just saying is that when you get off the airplane, from the start, there will be people who speak English, tuk-tuk drivers who can speak some English, and fast food workers, and just people on the street. Everybody at the mall speaks English. You could be at a market, I guess, where there's no English, but if you just want to know the price of some carrots, just you know, stick the calculator up and ask them to type in the price if you have to. And in the meanwhile, you can learn Khmer. But you don't have to learn Khmer to get started here. If you know English, you'll be fine. The fourth thing that you should know before you move to Phnom Penh, Cambodia is to bring US dollars. I would not bother bringing any other currency whatsoever. I know that you can get US dollars at you know, basically any exchange, any bank in the world. That's like an international style bank, and you should just get them before you come here, because although the real is the official currency, people use the US dollar just as much. And definitely for any large purchase, you're not going to want to be hauling around a suitcase full of reals. You're going to need to bring US dollars, and most of your dollars can be hundreds, but definitely bring some smaller bills as well, because no one here can break 100. Like nobody will break 100 for you here. So once you have got your ABA account, which you would if you're moving to Cambodia, then you just go and you just deposit your hundreds into an ATM or at the bank, and then everything else after that will be really just ABA pay for just about everything. And if you need some small bills for paying the parking attendant or for anything else, you can just pull some real out of the machine. I never pull out dollars. I just use ABA for just about everything. But if you're going to bring one currency, bring dollars. Don't bring pounds or anything like that, or Thai baht. Just bring the dollars, because they use it here anyway. Tip number 5, before you ever leave your country at all, is to call all of your banks and tell them that you are going to go to Cambodia and that they should expect to see charges on their ATMs and credit cards from Cambodia. And not just Cambodia, you're going to tell them everywhere you're going to fly through. So if you're going to fly here through Bangkok, tell them that you might see some charges from Thailand as well, as an example. What you're really trying to avoid here is having your credit cards or your bank card shut off, because imagine that you're at the bank. Let's say you've got a Chase credit card and you've been spending the last 4 years making transactions solely in Florida and the surrounding areas, and whoa, suddenly you've got this charge at an ATM at Cambodia. I mean, obviously the bank's going to shut your card off if they are smart about it, and then you're going to be stuck without access to your money, and then somehow you've got to make an international expensive phone call, if you're even equipped for that at this point. And now you've got to wait for 2 hours for, you know, some customer service person to finally answer the phone and prove that you are who you are by telling them your mother's maiden name. I mean, you know the deal. And then finally get your card unlocked. and then it might even lock up again. So you're definitely going to want to go and not be stuck in a really bad situation. Call your banks of any type that you have for any kind of account you have where you might use a card, and just let them know that they should expect to see charges from Cambodia, and please don't turn my card off. Tip number 6 is bring your driver's license, because that driver's license in Cambodia is exchangeable for a similar type driver's license here. For example, if you want to ride a motorcycle in Cambodia and the motorcycle is more than 125 cc, then you'll need a license if you don't want to end up getting your bike impounded or paying all kinds of fines to the police, who will pull you over mid-transit on any road without warning. I already have a motorcycle license from the United States. I've gotten a motorcycle endorsement there on my driver's license. So all I had to do was take my driver's license to the Eon 2 Mall, Department of Motor Vehicles, and an hour later I walked out, not having to take any kind of test or anything, with just my existing driver's license, and now I've got a Khmer driver's license, although they do have to be renewed every year. If you are the kind of person who is willing to go through the expense of purchasing a car in Cambodia, then they'll just trade your driver's license, and they won't even take yours away. They'll just take a look at it, make some copies, and give it back. Then you'll have your original license, and you're going to have your new Khmer driver's license, which lets you legally drive. I strongly suggest that you avoid letting your driver's license expire, especially if you ever go back to the US and need to drive or rent a car. That's just a separate thing. Tip number 7 is more of a behavioral tip, and it's a very strong suggestion, and that is, do not argue or shout in Cambodia. Now, I know that in some countries it's very common to get super animated and angry when you feel like some person is being obnoxious, or a customer service person is being inept and not doing their job correctly, or you're just frustrated in general. I have also seen similar behavior from people who are actually visiting Cambodia. I even saw on a flight recently, my most recent flight, somebody from another country swearing at the flight attendants, which is incredibly stupid. If they're in any way related to an airline or an airport, you just better be polite, or you're asking for a world of hurt. But here's what I'm trying to say, is that if you get frustrated, if you get upset, if you think the person behind the counter isn't doing it right, do not shout, do not yell, don't throw a temper tantrum like you might in some other countries. Because in this country, that is a huge loss of face, and you are not communicating to the person that you're angry at that they're incompetent. The only thing that you're communicating is that you are an infant who cannot control your own emotions. Do not Karen out or Kevin out in this country, because the best case scenario is that everyone's going to be real embarrassed for you, and they're going to refuse to help you with your problem, or they won't check you out. I actually saw this happen at a local place here, where some foreigner was throwing a big temper tantrum, and they just simply refused to serve him as a result. When he raised his voice and threw a fit, they just served the next person, and they refused to serve him. And that's, by the way, like a best case scenario. You really do not want to deal with an extremely angry Cambodian. Cambodians are cool as cucumbers, and if they are angry, you aren't usually going to see it much on the surface. They keep it inside, because that's culturally the appropriate thing to do. The fact is that living in any other country outside of your own is going to present many challenges and many frustrations, and that's just how it is. And you can react culturally appropriately, and you can just water off a duck's back, as you should be, as the locals would do, or you can lose your mind and bad things will happen, and you aren't going to get the result that you want, and anyone who's been here for a while will be embarrassed to be anywhere near you. So count down from 10 and just try to be calm, and don't lose it in front of other people here. It's just not good. My final practical tip, tip number 8 for you if you are going to come to Cambodia, is before you ever leave your home country, install the app called Grab on your phone, because it's always a losing proposition for you to go and verbally negotiate with a tuk-tuk. You're always going to get taken. This is not to suggest that you should be stingy with the tuk-tuk drivers, because they're just trying to make a living, but a $1.50 ride can easily turn into a $7 ride or more, because you don't know how much the ride is worth or how much to haggle. And on top of that, you're going to be here trying to direct your tuk-tuk driver to wherever it is you're trying to go when you don't even really know how to get there, and you're trying to hand them the phone with the maps and all this stuff and trying to communicate. Just get the Grab app. You'll get the inexpensive price. You can still tip your tuk-tuk driver through the app if you'd like. And they already know that your destination, it'll show up on a map automatically for them. You just don't want to get into the negotiating with tuk-tuk drivers. It's always going to be a losing proposition for you. So really, Grab is great. It's also a great way to get food and some other things as well. Well, that was 8 things that you should know if you're going to move to Phnom Penh, Cambodia. I do hope that you find the tips practical and helpful. And if you do, I would appreciate it if you would comment and like and subscribe and come back for more. Have a great day.